path as you make your approach in. So NRG is starting to make a little bit of a path back along those locations, but it's going to be TLP that's continuing to get an idea on what's happening around them.
So surprising from TLP. Obviously, with most teams, is they know there's a team there with that crypto and scout ahead, so they'd avoid the fight. But TLP has other plans. This is NRG that they're pushing up against, and they just decide, you know what, send the EMP, push it, and we'll see what happens. And at this point, they're not backing off. So NRG now, with all this noise, has to be caught in between two different teams, and it could be dangerous. As for TLP, they're going to need to get into the zone quickly, as TSM here already at the west side here of Thermal Station. Got a Rogue over to the other house.
I was going to say, this is right around where we saw Rogue at, so if you walk into this sector of the circle, it's gonna suck for you. Not sure if we've seen a Rogue reposition.
Yeah, without saying it lightly, it's gonna suck. Like, there's no really easy way to say it, is there? Still engaging on this fight, huh? TLP being a nuisance, and I kind of like it.
Taking a couple of shots back over. NRG is still just trying to hold defensive line. They know that this safe zone is back behind them. About 10 seconds before it starts to collapse. And I think this is why we were seeing earlier aggressions coming out from TLP. They wanted to try to make a path back over through that choke point. That way they didn't have somebody come up back behind them. Instead, they're just going to say discretion's a better part of valor, rotate back over towards the east, and maybe try to push their way through a different choke point.
Yeah, at this point, they're just trying to make sure that they're in the circle, and this actually will buy them some time to make a decision. So the benefit of having a Wraith and a Pathfinder, obviously plenty of movement that they can take, but I assume them to sit this, kind of see how it plays out, and then either with their late rotation, take that Wraith portal and kind of work their way in. So not too worried about them. Luckily for them, there is nobody on the north side either, and if they really want to, they could take the train.
Yeah, a train always an option at this stage. You got to be very careful with it. You can see that it's going to be New Brainers get a little bit of trouble coming their way. Instead, just going to retreat all the way back up, try to get a little bit of safety, deny sight lines back over. Node making their approach back over from the east as everybody is just slowly and steadily being funneled back towards each other. Still have 14 squads up and going, 40 people alive, but it's starting to get to where everybody is within touching distance of each other and trying to inflict as much damage as possible.
New Brainers here on the backside. Oh, in sync. Look at us.
I know. Think the exact same now. Look, this is what all of this has brought us together. We now have the exact same brain moving forward.
Something anime? I think that's...
There you go. See, you're already thinking exactly like me.
Either way, pretty good fight out here by HRN and New Brainers. Obviously, HRN using more, so something to be considerate of as Gibraltar Ultimate raining down. Not able to pick anybody up. They do get some pretty good damage here, but I think the big benefit here of having this Watson is if someone tries to throw that utility or return fire on that, but just back up against this pillar, trying to climb up top, see if they can get a different angle.
Is that an Apex totem? They're all just kind of stacked up on top of each other, lined up. Back over towards the edge of the circle,
man,
trying to get a little bit more
you can, all right?
Yeah, I mean, just push as hard as you can. Try to get... I mean, Gibraltar's a pretty big dude. You got to take all the effort to get him up that hillside.
You know the best part? Team Liquid's on the outside here just watching it develop.
I'm kind of curious if they were watching that the whole time. Just like, no, let's see if they can manage to stack it together. And New Brainers managing to inflict a lot of damage back over towards the defense, but they're going to need to move here. You got about a minute to work with, so go ahead and get a little bit of damage off as they can in here. We've talked about it beforehand, the Wraith Portal providing a lot of opportunity for reposition for your team.
Brainers need to be careful, though, as they're trying to finish off this last player, but they also need to be careful around the corner that there was a player that he ends up spotting out down below. But Team Liquid was in the area as well, so making a lot of noise could be an opportunity, but again, that could also bait Team Liquid. There wasn't a whole lot of damage that was being done, so need to be careful as BKB and the kill feed ends up dropping down a player from NRG.
Team Liquid making an approach where we've been seeing so much action happening back over towards the east. Keep in mind, as teams keep funneling back down towards this position, we're going to start having a lot of sightline issues, specifically as you make the approach. You can see that's why there's some hesitations coming out, as they know that they're going to be walking into an open fields and open areas. There are a couple of buildings to go through, but every single time you have to bounce between them, you have to assume that complex is already going to be taken, or somebody's going to be looking your direction to take long-range shot.
On board with the Yeet Squad, also trying to rotate in here to Thermal Station. a really fun area to actually fight as shots coming down from New Brainers. They were able to rotate through on the eastern side and get that high ground. So at this point, just trying to watch the flanks. They actually end up spotting one out as damage just comes down. 100 damage cracks the shield, but not able to finish it off for Mercy. He's going to rotate back to the high ground. And for Liquid, being caught in this tunnel is a very dangerous spot. Only one place to go.
You got to hope that everybody is already fighting somehow, and maybe you can creep up behind them, get a couple of shots into them as they're making their approach towards the safe zone. NRG still kind of playing around the outside of this one, in no inherent rush to make their way back down, but you can see the rings coming up back behind him. No options to really work with. New Brainers finding themselves in yet another fight, just harassing, dancing back and forth in between the Gibraltar shield, so going to be able to get away from that one, buying more space, and Lip didn't even take that much damage out of it either.
No, really good play. Hakulo did a great job of utilizing that shield, going back and forth between the two, and it ate a majority of the shots. But at the same time, they're attacking from multiple angles. Not only is their team attacking from the direct spot, but, I mean, the person on the back end is just getting free hits. So, again, good coordinated attack here from my New Brainers. They've been a team that has been slowly gaining traction throughout the weeks. And they win another fight here. Sentinels on the back end side, just kind of overseeing this corner. Seeing if they can get a couple shots on. Yeah, with that wingman, all he needs to do is land a couple. It could change the tide of a fight.
They're in such a strong defensive position right now to make an approach back over towards them. You can see how wide out in the open it is. They've got so much control. They can harass everybody. Meanwhile, back down in the low ground positions, you can see it's MVP trying to figure out, okay, how are we wanting to make plays around this? Looks like they've just opted going closer towards the center of the circle, playing low, hoping that everybody is going to be caught up in the fights up above them.
Now, fortunate for BKB, they did have 2 knocks on Energy, but it looks like they're able to get both Rocker and Nafin back up. So, Energy, what was down 2, is now full strong again as Heat Squad on the top side. Both these teams pressuring each other. The grenades coming by, ends up destroying the door, but no damage done. So just watching their angles at this point. Don't have to push out just yet. Gonna have about 45 seconds. At this point, just trying to delay the inevitable.
Yeah, because this is going to be an aggressive push. Dude jump right back down. Good beam shots coming out direct onto this. Heat Squad trying to capitalize off the damage that they got, and it's just a quick run in. Very quickly, Nicewig is going to go down. Six trying to get something out of it. Bowser having to play back around the outside of this, and while they wanted that fight, it's turning problematic for them very quickly. NRG's trying to back out and away from this one, having to dodge a lot of the damage. Even finding himself in a little bit of troubled spot as Frex is going to go down as well.
Scary thing is, as he was running by with that phase shift, there's another player inside, so have to be careful as they end up spotting another team over to the west. So we're starting to see a lot of these squads now, 8 only remaining as TSM knocks down yet another one. End up getting Sentinels on the back end.
TSM continually making it to the end game, game after game. Rogue off to the side of him as well as the hunt for first still continues. TSM still holding on to it, but Rogue is trying their best to cling to every single point that they can to climb up back behind them and make it a fight for first. The circle is going to be pretty close to location. Ziploc bags finding themselves in a fight right along the edge of the ring. Repositions back out and away, but it's going to be shots off the distance, going to be able to take them down as well. Rogue starting to make their run back over towards it. Do have a little bit of a corner to play from, and you can see instantly start setting up their defenses.
Really smart play as well. Obviously trying to utilize as much utility as they can late game, but may not even have a chance to use it as a big shot from the Kraber from TSM drops one down. Abreleli, the one I would want least to have that if I was on the other team. As he's popping shots here and there, he's going to switch over to the R99. Looks like Imperial Hal up close and personal as well with the Kraber. As just trying to turn the corner, is going to put some damage down, see if they can be aggressive. All 3 players come in and it pays off. That is the TSM coordination I've been waiting to see for weeks.
That dance around the outside, drawing out attention, and then shifting it back into sliding shotgun blast was a pivotal point inside of that fight. TSM stepping up, not afraid to take anybody on towards the late game. We've got 4 squads left, 10 people up and alive, and you can see BKB on their last member right now. Going to have to do a pretty hard run back down towards the south, and it is going to be pretty wide out in the open. Going to have to be very cautious. Meanwhile, New Brainers still playing back over towards the east. They're going to do a run and jump back over and through the lava. Looks like they're just going to try to run this one in right over here next to this rock cropping and try to use that as their new pivot position.
Really good spot here by Hakulo. He's going to immediately push out to the other side and see if he can get some information, and he does. R99 trade down on front. 4 squads remaining, 10 players left. Shots coming from the top side. Mercy hasn't pushed over yet. Has a good vantage point for his team. So, love the positioning here. One staying back, applying some pressure from a higher angle, while the other 2 can use that information to push in close. And you're seeing just that. Shots coming out from Mercy. Tricky end up coming in and getting knocked for his efforts. But a ton of shots coming down just a little bit behind, but switch to the Mastiff, and it's a 1v2, and unfortunately, Aculo is going to get dropped down as TSM here still on the backside as well. All these teams converging, TSM on top, but need to be careful. A bunch of people on their other angles as he removes another one. Trying to be careful with the Watson ultimate. Removes that, so passive regeneration gone. Has Thermite's going to try to drop that down. Has plenty of utility, absolutely knocking him. And the benefit of the Thermite is all those ticks tell him exactly where he's at. He ends up cracking the shield. Is he going to ingress on this?
See, playing back down in the low point provided safety for a while, but TSM now knows they're there. They're on the hunt, just chasing them down back behind it, using the only utility that they already had set up. TSM just runs that one right through. 3 squads left, and it's going to be TSM taking firm control over the circles. You can see playing back over towards the north, denying everybody's rotation in play as third-party fights are happening. They're just capitalizing on everything, just jumping and chasing it down. TSM walks away with the victory.
Well played by TSM. We saw the rotation early into that house. Initially, that was Rogue. Rogue was in that house first, and then they ended up pushing